struggling. We finished our private chat. Okay, so we're just looking at a couple of trades today. Had some successes, and then somewhere maybe we could have done a bit better. So we're just going to have a look at those.
Get these up, then I can just drag them over. So the first one we've got is, so this was a Euro AUD.
Oh yeah.
Now I got in around here, thinking it was going to be a buy with a stop loss on, and the thinking there was it had come up here over 10 pips. It had bounced off the pitchfork and the quarter theory, and gone up. It was above both the 62 and the 930. So I thought, well, I'm going to get in now. And it just went the other way. Now, if that had been you, would you have taken that one, or would you have? Is there anything staring you in the face? You think no, that's it.
The only thing I can see is that the 62 EMA is very flat and below the pitchfork. So so the three confirmations we've got, I mean, there is an upward trend, but if you took it from that bottom blue candle, the lowest point on the left, there is an upward trend, but at 11:10 UK time, you've got a strong red engulfing sell candle, followed by a smaller blue buy candle. So that says to me, and the flat 62 below the pitchfork, that actually it's struggling, even though it did the break and the retest. And then sure enough, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 candles later, it forms a lower high. And now you can see the channel has changed, because if you drew a downward trend line from that top peak, the higher high of the red candle with the wick at the top and the bottom, you can see that downward trend forming.
Yes, going down.
Yeah. So after I can see exactly what you saw. I get it. I can see it 100% what you saw. You've had the orange above the blue. You've had the pitchfork touch. You've had a good break and retest. And it's a fast pair. So with a fast pair, it's not unusual for it to slip down quite a bit before deciding it's going to go off. So I think a bit of it is you're just a bit unlucky. You would had to have been quite quick, because you would have got in on that first blue candle after the pitchfork.
I think that's roughly where I went in. It
would be. So a very difficult one for you to get right. And I'm not saying I would have necessarily seen everything that I'm telling you. I might well have got in as well, because it's not until the next candle forms that you see at the top, 1, 2, 3 minutes further on, that lower high that's formed, that your gut feeling starts to say, eek, this isn't going too well. And I had a strong engulfing sell candle before, and the 62 has leveled off below the pitchfork. I think that's quite critical as well. So I think actually it's just one of those things, and I could well have made the same mistake, because after that, but you might have just got out with sludge or just about no loss, where you've got the doji candle at the next lower high, because by then your alarm bells will have gone off. And you would have seen, you can see that trend line now, and you're thinking that's now the second lower high after that higher high, and the 62's leveled off, and I'm still below the pitchfork.
So I was thinking it's going to start consolidating now, and I thought, well, it could be doing this for ages. I was thinking, do I extend the stop loss, or do I leave it? And in the end, I left it. So
I personally, and Chance says the same, it's like rollovers on HFX. To be honest, I've had a lot of bad habits learning to trade, but I've never had a bad habit of hugely extending the stop loss. Once it's set, it's set. I may have set it occasionally at the beginning at 13 pips on a 10 pip one, or if it's 15, say 17 or 18 to cover a pitchfork, but otherwise I ignore the trade. I don't even go in it. So personally, it's never a bad habit that I've had. where I've then increased my stop loss.
Yeah.
I'd rather look at saying, actually, it's a failed trade. It's one of those things.
Yeah.
I've just managed to close out at minus 1 or 2 pips. So be it.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I was just looking at wondering, because at the time I think, have I missed something there? But I know even the best.
No, you haven't. You haven't missed anything. You haven't missed anything there. And sometimes as well, it's quite tricky, isn't it? Because very fast pairs can slip through the 62 quite considerably, level off and then take off. I think that happened today on Euro Ord. There was a very nice buy on Euro Ord. It might have been later on. I can't remember when it was.
When I'm doing the when I was doing the entries on JFX, I mean I'm only on demo, because I'm going while it's moving quick and I'm trying to look at the numbers and move and work out what I've started doing is putting a rough stop loss in, putting a rough take profit in, just enter the trade and then I go back to JFX and change it. And
oh yeah, totally do the same thing. I do the market execution, so I'm as tight on the pips as possible. Then I go back and adjust the stop loss, because otherwise, if you're fiddling around working it out, you've lost a couple of pips by your time you're working out. So I'm a great one for that. Bang and get in, and then adjust. Totally agree.
Because, like I say, you'd have to be unlucky for it to jump too much in the wrong direction.
Well, it's only a couple of seconds, but in the meantime, you could have lost your pips on the entry, which I think is the important thing.
Yeah, no, exactly. So that's that one. Next one was Euro USD.
Yeah.
That was a sell I was looking at doing. Well, I got into around here with a view it was under the 930 and the 62. It had tested this pitchfork.
Do you remember how many pips that test break and retest was?
Well, that's a 10 pip stop loss. That probably would have been about 3.5 ish.
Yeah.
Looking at that.
Yeah.
Well, it was somewhere here. I got it. It might have been on this candle before it. It would have been about 3.
Yeah.
Got in there. They just went completely the other way.
Okay. So why have you put your channel where you have instead of covering those previous highs?
I think at the time I was trying to do the most touches, with thinking, is that slippage or should I put it there? Because I think I probably asked myself that at the time.
Well, I'm looking at the ones even further back, to be honest. Up near the pitchfork. Yeah, up above that.
Oh no, I think that was I just did them too long. It was this bit I was focusing on. I think that's why. But it's just that they happen to kind of marry up.
Well, I probably would have put that channel covering that higher high, and the lower high up there near the pitchfork. Yeah, so I would have put the channel there, and then you can see you've got the channel change coming, where exactly on the edge of the slider bar is a channel change. So it's actually stalling out. It's stalling out there. So that break and retest, if it's anything under about 5 pips, can be what we call slippage, not actually a true break and retest. So let's have a look at what your 5 confirmations are. I'm not sure about the strength of the break and the retest. I think that's the problem on this one.
How far when you do, you break and you retest, how far down do you like it to be normally?
Well, Chance addressed that this morning. He said, for simplicity of maths and having a rule, we say 10 pips, but we don't always get the 10 pips. So anything that's like 5, 6 or 7, is a good break and retest. But sometimes if you've got a strong momentum candle and say you've got quarter theory, it might come back to just that, not even back to the pitchfork, and then go. And I think that's what we were talking about earlier on, where he has his eye in on it. But if you actually just stood back from this and you said, all right, I've had the 62, the orange has crossed the blue, that's check 1 for confirmation. Obviously, I've got a pitchfork touch, check 2, and then I'm looking for a break and a retest or the 1 minute trend line. I can see there is a trend line going down. as you've said. So you've got your confirmations there for an entry. Now, bearing in mind, we're coming into that consolidation ranging sort of crossover period, 12 till 2 of between London coming into New York, which can often be like this, not a huge move, bit of up and down. Now it went down in London and you can see it's going up, it's heading up in New York. I can see that. And also if you just stood back and took all the lines off, you can see that it's tailing off as well. So I think if you'd drawn the channel a bit wider and then seen where you've got from 12 noon, that hourly candle which wicked off the pitchfork, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 minutes of no movement at all after the midday candle. That tells you that move is failing. You know, it's not got any wax on the candles. It hasn't got very, it's in fact, it's had quite small volume for an hour since 11:15. So again, I think you've just been a bit unlucky. The move isn't quite there. It's in that changeover period. The channel's changed. It went down in London. It's going up in New York. I think it's mostly time of day on this one.
What would you still trade around that time? Or do you leave?
Well, I try not to now because I traded live every day for 6 months, Monday to Thursday, 1 p.m. UK time till 2 p.m. UK time. And I learnt, and I didn't realize at the time that was the slot I was given, which is fine. I didn't know at the time it's the kind of changeover, sludgy, consolidation-y sort of slot. But again, when I was dog walking today, I thought about something that Chance said this morning. And he said when he was getting going, he did 8 hours a day trading because he was growing like a $20, $40 account because he was so flat broke. And he said he traded. So I thought, okay, I know he always does 3 a.m., which is his, because he's over in Missouri, London time. So I thought to myself, if he's doing 8 hours a day, that's through till 11 a.m. his time, which for the UK would be something like, because he said he used to trade up until mid New York, which would be 11, which would be 4 p.m. UK time. And that's exactly when New York moves UK time, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. So that's his cutoff point, UK time, 4 p.m. New York is what he used to do. So I tend to stick to his rules. So I thought, oh, well, he was trading through that crossover period if he was doing 8 hours a day. He was literally looking for any trade he could anywhere. But generally speaking, I find that period quite tough to trade between UK time 12 till 1:30. I have noticed things have moved a bit earlier. I can see it there at 13:15. It's made a move. Sometimes it hasn't made a move until the 2 p.m. But I have noticed things have been moving at 1:30. You haven't really got a trade there because it didn't do a nice break and retest, and then you had the hour. But there probably is a buy further over. So I think that's my analysis of that one. Small volume on the candles. You are below the 62. You've had the break and the retest, the pitchfork touch. I can see exactly what you've seen. I can see exactly what I've seen. It just wasn't a very strong move that you've picked.
Would you have waited? Is that 62 curvy enough for you? Or do you think that's too flat around the point it entered?
The only thing I would bother about is the fact it's crossed over, but actually you can see it is now flattening out. So the move is finished, and then as we know later on, because you wouldn't have seen all that to the right hand side, it's going up. I would have, what would I have done there if I'd been in that trade? Once it had broken up above that pitchfork, and I would have been about 7-8 pips in drawdown and above the 62, I would have closed out early. Just said I've made a loss.
Just
a bit on the left, where the blue there, that would have made all my hackles rise because I'm above the pitchfork, and I'm above the 62. So to me, it's gone. The move's gone.
Yeah.
I'd cut my losses there. I wouldn't even have. Once it's then gone down again, I wouldn't have even worried about that. I would have gone out the trade at that point where your cursor is, most definitely. The move's finished. And I, even if it had then gone down, I wouldn't have said to myself, oh dear, I might have got this wrong, because I wouldn't have liked the fact it's now broken above the pitchfork and the 62. I wouldn't have liked that at all.
Yeah, so you couldn't really even turn it around and turn it the other way around, because this was in the wrong place at that point anyway. The 9:30.
Yeah, exactly. It hasn't crossed,
so, yeah.
It hasn't crossed the 15 minutes, although obviously it does an hour later.
Yeah. You know, when say this had been down here for argument's sake, and you were looking at this as a buy, how much do you like it to go down here and come back up? Do you try to look for under 10 pips, so it's not looking like it's the other way?
This is always a debatable point, because sometimes when it's only 3 or 4 or 5 pips, it can be what we call slippage. You know, it's slipped through, particularly on a faster pair. This isn't particularly faster pair, and then it, you know, it wanted to actually go where it wanted to go. So it is a bit of a debatable one, because I've been Connor's taken a trade, and Charlie I've seen where they've got and I've waited for a bigger break and retest and not got it, whereas they've seen the overall momentum very clearly, and they've just said bang, I'm in, and they've won the trade very successfully. So it is a judgment call, you know, how much break and retest do I wait for, or even do I get a clean break and retest, because we don't always get a clean break and retest back to the pitchfork. There could be the 62 there or the quarter theory, and it stops at that, and then you have to look at the momentum candles and see where the, you know, the move was. And Chance actually drew one up this morning when we were on, might have even been Euro USD earlier on, and he said this is your break and retest. You know, it's not always that clearly defined, but obviously for a system, we have to have a set of rules.
Yeah. Yeah, but I'm not complaining. It's only the second day I've been doing it, and the two I've lost.
Yeah, but you see, my gut feeling as well, it's only an individual thing. I definitely would have drawn my parallel channel on those higher ones further up, and if they had been up there, then you would also have seen that it would have broken that channel. It's broken out the channel, and then you definitely know the move's gone, because I can see visually looking at that, it's broken the 62, the pitchfork, and the channel. Trade is dead for a sell, dead.
So it's dead before it even began.
Yeah, so I would never have drawn that channel, that parallel channel where you have on the top line. The bottom line, yes, possibly, but not the top line. I would have had it higher.
Yeah. See, I think the thing that stopped me from doing that, you know, when you say you try and get as many touches as possible, when you bring that down, you get, I suppose that's another confirmation that you can't touch it down there, that it's not a valid.
I know what you mean. It takes a bit of intuitive individual sort of feel, doesn't it? So I certainly would have covered those. Well, I don't know, because as I say, Chance is like the ultimate teacher. Personally speaking, I would have had my channel probably wider, not at the bottom of those candles on the left. And I certainly would have covered those 3 where they've wicked through above the pitchfork, just below the 62 on the top line. Okay. A bit further to the right. Yeah, I would have adjusted my parallel channel, and that also would have told you the move's broken. I would have covered that top line. I just know I would have covered that top line.
Yeah, so all in all, the first one.
And then that would have also told you the move's broken. You had 3, you had the parallel channel broken, the 62 and the pitchfork. The move's broken, the new channel's forming.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. I'll bear that in mind with the channels moving forward. Yeah, like I say, that does when you say it like that, it does make, like I say, it makes the whole thing invalid before you even.
Well, it doesn't make it invalid. It gives you the confidence to know to cut your losses and close the trade, because you know you did have the pitchfork and the break and the retest, the 62 across down. I can see exactly what you've seen, and then you're thinking, oh, is it going to come down again? But if you'd seen that all together, then you would have, I think, thought to yourself, I think I'll just close this. You know, it's not going anywhere.
Yeah. Okay. So that's that one. So the last one, the one that won, I was a bit more cautious with this one. After them two that lost with this one, you could probably say I could have got in early, but what I was waiting for on this one was all the same rules. You had the strength because the quarter theory line was there as well.
Yeah, I remember this one specifically myself today.
I was
So
just waiting for this to curl a bit though. That was
yeah, I
that's
did
a
go,
loss.
I replayed this one for myself as well today. So first of all, again, that top line of the parallel channel, I would have had it up a bit and, you know, I just would have made it longer and wider. That's just me. Secondly, the entry is perfect any time from that first break and retest. So anywhere, you didn't have to wait, because I think that was 10.9. I did measure it myself back to the pitchfork. Hang on, I'm gonna have to turn my dinner off. I can hear it's dried up a bit. Hang on. Sorry about that.
That's all right. I won't keep you.
No, that's okay. So yeah, I did analyze this myself in detail. You didn't have to wait for any more curling round. It had a strong enough break and retest. You had the momentum on that orange line. It was you had the time of day. You had a fast pair. It had everything going for it, this trade.
Yeah, oh, that's good.
Yeah.
I probably could have got in a bit earlier, like you say. But with this one, because I saw that quarter theory line there, that's why I did that as a take profit trade. I thought, well, if I can just get 20, I'll be happy with that.
Yeah, exactly. Nothing, perfectly respectable with that.
And would you have, if you'd have been doing this one live, would you have, would that have been your confirmation to get out of it once it had got to this point? Would you
have? Yes, most definitely, because I would have had my 2-to-1 or even 25 pips. So even if I'd have closed there, I would have been watching that. There was a strong candle above. I would have been out. I would have definitely been out somewhere at that point. I wouldn't have, even with that break and the retest. And sure enough, you see, whoa, look at that engulfing candle down. You've immediately lost like 10 pips in 1 minute candle. That's 100. That's 100 million. That candle.
Yeah, it's just very, it comes down to how much bottle you've got. But if you'd have got in, you'd have probably got in down here.
Well, I would have, because of the time, I would have got in down there further to the left. So I would have already been up 25 pips on the daily goal. I think you are getting some of these big swings with the bigger candles slightly erratically at this time of year. And it's equally as difficult for me on the judgment call, as we discussed earlier on before we started recording. And I think that it's that balance, isn't it, between taking your 15 pips and not being too greedy because of the time of year, or thinking, have I done my 20 pips trade goal? Have I done my 25? And then, as you said to me, not being unhappy that, oh gosh, I could have got another 5 or 10 and I didn't. I left all that money on the table. So it's that pressing, it sounds obvious, doesn't it? Pressing the button at the right time, and particularly the time of year, because that break and retest back to the pitchfork and that candle after the 3 o'clock candle, after the hourly candle, it drops down and it straddles that pitchfork. So although you're well above the 62, and if you've drawn your 1 minute, if you've drawn your trade entry trend line, then it's broken that at that point. And even from earlier on it wouldn't have. So once that strong engulfing candle broke, mind you, it moved so fast, that would have dissected the 1 minute trend line. And then I would have thought, oh Christ, got out at about 10 pips. And sure enough, it stalls along the 62 and then it's down all the way. So that's a tough trade to get out of. And that's why at this time of year, as you say, set my take profit, take the pips and run.
I think with me being very new to it as well, and because it's like with HFX, because you know what your expectations are when you get into the HFX trade, because I've still got that mindset now, I'm almost happy just to set the rules, the goals from the start, and then, or if it does shoot up here and I've missed it, well, I might not have took it in the first place. So I don't think you can get to. I'm just happy to be up. I think that's the thing. That might change as time moves on.
Yeah, and I think it's a process of refinement. So you know, make your parallel channel a bit longer, perhaps widen it a bit. You've got your trade, you've got your trend line. I can see the trend line. You've got your trend line from the anchor at the bottom, and then you've got where you got in the trade. You've got your trade trend line. So that 1 minute trade trend line is a very important trend line to draw after you've drawn your trade trend line, because if price breaks that and then heads down to the 62, in this case in a sell, you've got 2 warning bells going off saying, I think I should be getting out of this trade. So that big long dissecting engulfing sell candle would have broken your 1 minute trend line, and at that point, me included, I'd be thinking, I'm now giving up 50% of my profits. This is getting really bad. You know, I think I'll close out now. And I probably would have closed out there, and then I would have been annoyed all day because I'd missed the peak, and I'd come away with, I don't know, 10, 15 pips. But I would not have liked that engulfing candle. It dissected the 1 minute trend, and then sure enough, it comes down, dissects the 62. And then once it's broken that, you've got to get out the trade. So at best, you've come out with 5 pips.
Yeah, rather than lose.
Yeah, but also you've left what, 20 on the table, which is a lot of money. So, and you can see it just straddles along. Sure enough, it said, I'm out of here. And then it gives you the sell. There's the break and retest for the sell further down. With the momentum on the 62, there's a sell opportunity there.
On the where, sorry, were you looking?
On the right-hand side, after the 4 o'clock candle, break and retest, 62 momentum, there's a sell there. There's the sell there.
And
2 breaks and retests off quarter theory in the pitchfork. That's a decent break and retest. Strong momentum on the 62. Downward 1 minute trend line. So you could have had the buy and the sell. I don't know what, I can't see obviously the rest of the chart, but that's the sell.
So I can't scroll over on that. So
oh, hang on a minute. Let me see. Let's find it. Euro ord at 5 o'clock my time. That's the 5 o'clock. So from the pitchfork, there's a break and retest of 12.7. Strong momentum down. We've got the, off that peak there, we've just been discussing. Even if you drew it like that, because you wouldn't have seen the rest of this. So something like that, or it could be like that. You could have picked up those 2. You've got 3 touches there. Either way, break and retest back to the pitchfork and the quarter theory. So it's saying sell me once, sell me twice. Stalls out for, you're past the hour, past the danger zone. So it's stalled out here on the 15 minute, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, about 10 minutes. And then it goes.
Would that concern
but actually it's taken quite a long time on this one, maybe time of day.
Would it concern you that we've drawn this line, that diagonal trend line? If you're going to take an entry point somewhere around there, does it matter that the 930 is closer to your trade than the 62, or does it worry you that they're looking like they're about to cross? I know they do cross, but obviously you wouldn't have known.
No, that doesn't worry me at all. In fact, I like all that stall out. I like that strong momentum. I like that strong angle. It doesn't matter to me that it's close to the 62. All I care about is it's then crossed. So I like all that, because price will always test that. But then it said it can't, price will range, as you know, between the 62 and the 50 minute. But it says it's not doing that. It's actually going for the sell. So the only thing is, because of the time of day, that 20 pips took you 3 hours 36, and that's time of day because it's getting into late New York.
So it would have played out, but it would have taken a while.
Yeah, which is why I never trade late. And then you could have, sorry, let me just do it another way. So once I'm in the trade, which would have been round about here once I saw it go, once I'm in the trade, actually that's interesting because that's quite a tough, can't really do a downward, can't do a trade because there's the trade trend line, something like that. So I probably would have drawn it like that once I'd got in it, would have been in slightly lower down, about there. Then it would have broken above. So that's an interesting one. Okay, so if I was really, really in this at that time of day, my thinking would have been, this is my trade trend line. That's my trend line, 1 minute trend line. So I'm in the trade, I'm up. Oh, that's a good point. I got in there. Oh, that's fine. Didn't have to wait that long. That was a nice little trade, actually.
You just scraped through on that.
Yeah, so in round about there, 40 minutes, 18.4, call it 20.
Is what
so
we talked about earlier.
Lovely, yeah, definitely, because lovely little trade in there. Then let me take this off because obviously don't want to confuse people. And that was just the general trend line. So I've got my trade trend line. So it's done the 20 pips. Probably, in all honesty, I wouldn't have got out there because I'm thinking, okay, although it's time of day, so it's a lesson for us for the future. So once it breaks that and then broke that, I would have actually been thinking to myself, this isn't going to go. I'm out the trade. So at worst, I would have closed out with 10 pips.
Oh, 10, that's all right then.
Yeah, 10. 10, because to be honest, I don't think I would have closed out there. I would have thought, okay, but I would have got very worried staying in it once it did that. It's broken my trade trend line. Once it broke the 62 and it's flattened out, I would have thought, oh, time of day, this isn't going anywhere. I better get out. So I would have been out at the 10 pips. But as you can see, you could have had 20 there. So I suppose the other way of looking at it, like you said when we came on the call, take your money and run. Because you in 40 minutes, you did have your 20 pips and the time of day. That would have been the better decision, not to be greedy. Time of day, I've got my 20 pips, even, especially if you've been in on the buy, bang, I'm out of here. End of trading for the day.
Yeah, even if you'd have got 20 on the other one, 10 on that one, it's 30 pips, it's more than your target, and all within what?
Exactly, yeah. Euro ord buy. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, nice little trade that. So that's the sort of thing, although it's a fast pair and there were wicks and I don't bother changing over to the high Kanashi, but that's the sort of thing where you could say you could take a binary trade.
You've got all them indicators like that.
Equally, you could say, well, because certainly one thing I would never do is try and be in two different strategies trading at the same time. My brain just couldn't, even if it's a win-lose, leave it alone. I don't think my brain could cope with that. So you have to make a decision because you're going to get very good money off your 20 pips on your pitchfork. So why would you bother doing a binary trade? But if for some reason you said time of day, blah, 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 I've been in this buy, I don't think I want to be in a sell as well, but I could look at the 5 minute, the 1 minute, the 3 minute, and I might take a 3 minute non-fixed time trade. Do you see what I mean? That would be a good setup for that.
Because it's a strong setup, but they are quite wicky. Would you?
They are quite wicky. I probably would have. I don't know, because I'm not that experienced with it. I've just been flicking through. Literally, I flick through. I look at the 5 minute, and I look at the percentage payout. I get a feel for it, and I sit here flicking through. So there's my 5 minute, and I'm looking at the timer. How many minutes is left to run? Strong engulfing candle down, 2 wicks off, a doji candle. Then I'd go to the 3 minute, look at exactly the same area, how many minutes left on the 3 minute candle, and then I go to the 1 minute. So I'm literally looking at the time and counting the time and the candles. But I don't bother switching them over to Heiken-Ashi.
Yeah, you keep things on just conventional candles.
Yeah, so say I'd got in there on a 3 minute non-fixed time expiry after 2 indecision candles. I might have lost the trade, to be honest. Then I'd flick through again and get in on something here.
You can do it on a larger time frame. With the move binary, you can do any amount of minutes.
I know, but I'm just used to what we've sort of been taught, by.
But based on pitchfork, because you're looking at it as well.
I know you can look at the 5 minute analysis for 3 minutes on the 543, but I tend to. Yes, I am using those rules. I'm using the 5 minute analysis for a 3 minute non-fixed expiry and dropping to the 1 minute to see how the 3 1 minute candles have shaped up, or how the 5 1 minute candles have shaped up. But I take your point about it being wicky.
So in a larger time frame, say you've got into it on a binary on say a 10 minute, you'd have easily have won that one.
Oh, I don't think I could sit in a trade that long.
No, you click it and you can do something else. When I click on the trades on H, I don't look. I've got to the point now where I don't even look at it, because you just look.
I haven't got. No, I know. I agree. I think that is a good idea, but I find that hard to do. I haven't got a 10 minute option. Oh, but you have on the broker, have you?
Yeah, when you on race option, when you click 1 minute, I thought it was only 1 to 6, then realised you could scroll down and it goes all the way down to 30 on turbo, and then obviously you can change.
Yeah. But I can't look at it on Trading View. There isn't a 10 minute. There's only a 5 or 15.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. You just have to sort of look at what there is and map it together.
That's the 15 minute. Yeah, I don't think I can cope with trying to learn that as well, to be honest. Getting my head round some different time frames like that. No, I think you did very well today.
Yeah. I'll try and squeeze one more in before that, so I've got something to talk about in the morning.
Brilliant. Well, I should probably be up late doing a bit of Tokyo. I'll just save that and then I'll stop recording anyway. Control V. Then you've got a reference if we want to go over anything. Stop the share, just stop the recording.